Hi guys, Victor from Tech Heads here. Before we get started today, I would like to announce once again that our Patreon is officially live, but this time with some extra features. When you sign up, you officially become a producer of the show. This means that you will get access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content such as our extensive show notes. On top of this, you will also have access to the episodes 4 days earlier than everybody else. If this sounds good to you, feel free to check it out at patreon.com/techheads.
4, 3,
now
2,
on with the show.
1.
So, here we go.
How you all feel tonight?
So I actually wanted to open up today's episode with some follow-up news from maybe last episode or the episode before. I actually don't remember. But first thing, the rocket that was supposed to slam into the moon, it happened. It was. I guess it was confirmed that it's a piece of Chinese rocket that slammed into the moon. It did it this morning, 7-something a.m. Eastern time, I think, which today's the March 5th. Yeah, it hit, and I guess it made a crater that wasn't substantially big, but it was, I guess they had found out it was like 60 feet in diameter. So like, solid impact, but
right.
It also has like what, 1/10 of the gravity of Earth. So of course it's not going to be as strong as it would if it hit Earth.
Right. Yeah.
Is it 1/10? Is that right? Or am I completely off? I know it's like a lot lighter.
What is?
The moon.
Damn, I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
The gravity at the moon? Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, that sounds about right, though, what you said.
It's something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't taken astronomy in so long.
I've never taken it. So whatever you say sounds great.
Well, it's funny you say that. We also we learned that the Earth, for the longest time we thought it was a sphere, but recent discovery has led us to find out that it's actually a disc, like a CD.
Really?
And like where CDs go, and the little things where, like in the old days where you would have like that stack of CDs with the rod through the middle.
Yeah.
So on Earth, Earth is flat, right? And there's a circle in the middle, and that's actually where you get like the black holes, like black holes that everybody talks about. There's a black hole in the middle of Earth that nobody talks about.
Like, there isn't a core?
Correct.
There is not a core?
There's no core. Cores aren't real, and birds aren't real either.
Oh my God. This is actually,
Sorry.
That sounds really interesting. The whole, like you said, the CD thing, that actually makes sense though. But I mean, no, you're joking though, right?
Yeah, of course.
God, I was gonna say there's a core, isn't there? I mean, I've known for a long time that the whole because scientists have only gotten so far into Earth, right? Like, so there's a lot of like hypotheses about what's at the center of Earth, or like going deeper and deeper. But I was like, what? There's a black hole? No, that can't be.
Some other follow-up news.
Yeah.
With the cargo ship that was carrying all those nice cars.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it officially sank. All 4,000 cars on the ship went into the sea with the ship.
How many cars again?
Cars
4?
from the Volkswagen. 4,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Porsches, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, everything in the Volkswagen group. They were being transported from Germany to the USA, and it is unclear what started the blaze, but Captain How Mendez Cabezas, I don't know.
Yeah.
He said that he thinks the lithium-ion batteries in the electric vehicles aboard the ship caught fire and started the whole thing. So that's the rumor. That's what he thinks. He was, the captain of the ship. So
yeah,
he probably has good insight into that. But yeah, it officially sank, and it was I think like
damn.
It was close to Portugal, like 200 miles off the coast, I think.
Yeah. Jeez. How long ago? Was that like a month ago already?
Close to that, yeah.
And it just sank, or like was
Yeah.
it like a planned? Did they plan the sinking of the ship, or it went down because of damage? I mean, but that doesn't make any sense though. Like planning to do that, unless they really couldn't.
Well, they
put the
probably
fire
realized
out.
like it would cost more money to try to save it than to just let it sink.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Damn.
I don't know.
That's
pretty
insane.
psycho.
Yeah, that is for real.
Man, I'm just loving this English tea. I'm a big tea guy now, just like you.
Oh, I love tea. Especially after the electric kettle that I got for Christmas. I just feel like, I mean, it's so convenient now. Not that it was before, but I used to just have to put like a mug of water in the microwave, and now this thing just boils in like under a minute. So it's so much faster. And yeah, I love it. I just I don't think I've had tea as much these past few weeks because it's warming up. So I'm definitely going back to my iced coffee days. So that's what I've been having to like give me that boost,
Yeah. I am boosted right now. I have a cup of coffee in me, and then I have this big ass mug from the company just fueling me. So I'm ready today.
Damn. Nice.
Speaking of which, I never said welcome. Welcome back, everybody, to Tech Heads. It's a popular podcast show where we talk about technology and stuff like that. So if you're not new here, welcome back. If you are new here, welcome. So anyway, I wanted to open this episode up with a quick video clip from this small startup app called TikTok that this kid posted this funny video, and I saw it this morning after I was done prepping for the episode. So I just want to share because it ties in perfectly. So here it is.
A lot of people ask what it's like doing computer science, and I'll show you. It's 11 p.m. on a Friday. I didn't go out. I tried to finish my project, and now I'm about to turn it in. Let's see what I get as a grade. A lot of people ask what it's like doing computer.
So
Oh my god.
I felt so bad for him. Yeah, he's sitting in front of the computer, obviously, and he submitted his work, and the auto grader gave him a 5 out of 100, so 5%, and it showed him all of the places where he failed, like exactly how his code did not pass the tests. So when I saw that, I was like, holy crap, that's literally what we're talking about today.
Right.
So I wanted to cover testing because I think it came up recently in a conversation at work, and I was like, man, like I'm so bad at testing. I don't do any of that, but I do love automation, and testing and automation go hand in hand. So why don't we just do a whole episode on it and learn a thing or two and maybe share the knowledge. So that's what we're doing today. We're talking about TDD, or test-driven development as a whole, like the basic principles and whatnot. So Anna, what is your experience with testing, and maybe lack thereof if there's not much, or like your interest in it? Like, tell us anything that you have to offer.
Yeah, so I'm really happy, to start off to be talking about this, because I feel like we've talked so much about development, and this is like a crucial part of, like the Agile or like Scrum methodology, which is what I particularly see at work. But I feel like I am definitely lacking in this area, because I can build like a little side project, on my own, and I'll probably go as far as like going through pages, checking for like redirects and if buttons are working, for things like that, which is a part of testing, but it's just like one of the elements of the whole testing process. So I'm happy that we're going to go over this, because I feel like just by getting my notes together, I learned things that I never really considered. I had heard about it because it seemed like we're also covering this on a higher level, but yeah, that's probably about as deep as I've gone, is like testing, for like usability. I would say more on like the user end, instead of like under the hood, or like writing tests myself,
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of spoiled on my team in that we have a dedicated QA team. So whenever we're submitting something, it goes off to them into their little keyword, whatever you want to call it, and they just test everything for us, and then it comes back either passed or review or fail. So then we know exactly what to fix. So it crosses my mind not enough, but it does for sure, just because I don't want them to work too hard and be like, hey, you screwed this and this and this, like you're the worst. Like I don't want them to go through all that trouble and find all these errors. So I want to make their jobs easier and be better all the time, obviously. So doing this episode, it kind of made me even more aware of like what I should be doing before I submit my code. So I'm excited to go over it today. So why don't we just jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So one question you might ask as, a developer, or this could kind of apply to a bunch of things, but let's just talk about the developer side since that's what we do. So why would you even bother testing? What's the point? Whatever. Well, most things that have anything to do with software require dynamic functionality, which we kind of covered in a previous episode, which means that it has to be able to scale and change over time, based on different requirements. It could be like a variety of reasons, but the whole point is that you should expect to have things change with what you're coding at multiple points throughout time after it's done, quote unquote done.
Yeah.
It's not like where you build a bridge or some sort of building or whatever, where you build it based off of some blueprints and then you finish it and then you're done for the most part. Like it doesn't really work like that. So there's so much more that goes beyond what we see visually with any piece of software, such as an app or a site or so on. To the newbie or commoner, there's a lot under the hood. So to a lot of people developing, or maybe if they're new, testing might not be on their minds until they hit their first bug, because then they're like, oh no, I should have seen this coming. Like this probably could have been prevented with just a few unit tests. If you're not catching up with what I'm trying to say right now, and if it's not obvious, doing test-driven development decreases the amount of bugs and amount of hassle and effort that you have to deal with, like throughout the whole life cycle of your software. Studies have shown that it decreases the amount of bugs and improves the overall maintainability of the code, which in the Patreon only notes, we actually have a graph here that I put that you can refer to if you'd like. But as a general gist, it measured defects, external quality, complexity, size, effort, maintainability, and it's almost nearly a direct correlation with the amount of positive or neutral effects versus the negative effects when you're doing test-driven development. It's clear that it makes everybody's lives a lot easier, even if maybe at first it seems to take more effort. Down the line, it's going to take less effort because you're spending less time fixing things that you were ready for.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead if you want to add on to that.
No, yeah, I was just going to chime in because I feel like now more than ever, like in any of the roles I've held over the past couple of years, I've noticed how it's given so much importance, I think, in the out in the field, like how testing works, because I mean, if you think about it, like we're addressing this, I think, on like a higher level, but there are like a lot of business decisions that go along with, the fact that how much time is spent developing a software, and testing is just as important because there's a lot of money and manpower, therefore money that goes into, the development of a product or a service. And if there are a lot of, with test-driven development, I feel like you definitely touch on that. It's a benefit of using that practice because you save on time and, funds because you're considering or like you're implementing tests right off the bat. So I feel like that is probably like, the recipe to success, I would say, like when you're, trying to launch like a new project. But yeah, it's like, I feel like there's so much to it. And ultimately, I focused on, web apps, but I feel like the overall practice is probably the same across the board, because there are like different kinds of testing procedures or, guidelines and things like that. But yeah, it's something that is really good to learn right off the bat. I remember in the boot camp, they told us that all the time. And I was like, I'm just starting to wrap my head around JavaScript. And now I have to like think about unit testing. So,
Right.
but I just think that it was good that they put emphasis on it, because it can be undermined. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like after you learn the basics of the tools, which I've done at a very varied surface level. Just seeing what they do, which I'm going to cover briefly later, but there's just like so many cool tools out there that help you automate testing and think of different use cases and unit tests and such. So I think after seeing those, I was like, oh, testing is so much cooler than I thought. Like maybe I should actually implement a lot more testing into what I'm building all the time.
Right.
And I mean, like even in my personal experience, the amount of times I've come across a bug and I'm like, what do I do? I like, this is so stupid. And then when I fix it, I'm like, that was so simple. I literally could have tested that so easily, but I didn't, and saved all the time figuring out what the issue was initially. So, so I actually want to cover super briefly sort of like not a use case, but I guess kind of like a basic overview of the principle of TDD. So oftentimes in a code base, you will see these files that end with like a .test or .spec, and that's where the testing goes down. Like in those files, you write your testing code, and typically inside you'll find a line of code that describes the feature being tested, which is referred to as the test suite. And inside of the test suite is a collection of tests for a particular feature. And one single test inside of a test suite usually looks something like this. So if you are on the Patreon, I have a code example here that you can look at while I kind of explain what's happening. So you know what? I'll send it to you, Anna, real quick.
Cool. And
then you can look at it. One test will typically start with the word it. And it kind of looks like, this whole thing kind of looks like it's inside of a function, basically. Or you can look at the it statement. It's almost like an if statement in a way, but instead, this time it's it. So typically it'll start with it, followed by a description of what's being tested. And the idea is to describe the behavior of the code in superhuman readable terms. So in the example I have here, it says it, and then inside of the parentheses, it'll say finds the sum of A and B. And then another one would be like finds the difference of A and B. So those would be the descriptions of the test in like superhuman readable terms. And inside of the test, the code is executed, and one or more expectations are set so that they check if the code produces the expected result. So inside of the it statement, I guess we can call it, we have a function that basically checks for the addition of two numbers to see if they're correct. So in this instance, it's const x equals add, and then it passes in 2 and 2 as the argument. So then it's checking to see if it's equal to 4, it'll return true. And then it's also checking that it's not going to return null. And then that should return true as well, since we're passing in 2 and 2, which we know is 4 and we know it's not null. So that whole block will return true, which is what we want when we're testing. And then below we have a super similar example that I have, but I put it in as subtract 2 and 2, and all of those would come back true as well. But if I were to do, let's say, like const x equals add 2 comma 3, and then I have the test case for 4, it would return false because the addition of 2 and 3 is actually 5. It's not 4. So we would get a false in that instance. And the whole point is to have this running in the background while you're coding. That's like a huge plus, which you can implement. You don't have to. You can always go back and test it as you're done coding a function or a block or whatever. But the really cool use cases are that you can have these live servers happening that constantly check your code as you're doing it, so that you always get these true and false statements returned back. Something like jest or karma will do this. And then that way, the second that there's an error, and it's great. And you can also you can run them in like what's it called, like a continuous integration server, and that way you will know that there's errors before you actually deploy your work to the repo for everybody to see the errors, and that is super awkward.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I've had to make a couple of PRs, so far at work. So that is one thing before we merge, into like a development branch. It goes through, sometimes you need approvals. It really depends on, like what kind of a pull request it is, if it's for like a code fix and for a future deployment, or if it's for like a patch. You might need approval from like individuals. I think most of the time you do need approval, but sometimes it's one person, sometimes it's two. It depends on what you're doing. But then it goes through like a series of automated tests, and then you're waiting to have that checked off before you can actually merge the pull request. So yeah, I know that, those are like the automated testing. But then the cool thing that I've noticed when we do have to submit, these fixes is that we prepare a set of testing notes, and we hand it off to a QA engineer, and then they go through, and try to like replicate the issue, but hopefully they won't see an issue. They might test it before and after the code fix is applied, so they can see the difference themselves, but we kind of like give them a step-by-step on how to do it. And but yeah, so we're kind of using like the automated and also the human element, to it, because it could be that the tests are not covering it. It's really, I'm sure that it's really difficult for like even, a superhuman QA engineer to write all of the possible testing scenarios, all of the cases that you could possibly run into. And that's why, like, in my job, we focus on, trying to spot like these errors and addressing them. But with the TDD, like you said, it's you're trying to be more proactive rather than reactive, so.
Yeah. And it's tough though, because there's so many different types of testing. So it's like, it's hard to even remember what all of them are and like what to check. But luckily there are tools out there that do more than one for sure. And luckily we have QA people out there, like,
shout out to QA.
I know, it's honestly so great. But then my mind is blown sometimes when they return something back to me and I'm like, how did you even find that? Like, that's insane. Like, right. I never would have caught that, and I've never seen that error before. Like, stuff like that just kind of blows my mind.
Right.
And after, like, banging my head against the desk, I'm like, okay, I'll fix it now. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know how you got this error. It's fine on my end, but anyway, that's just the world of software. So
I feel like that's the classic answer, right? Oh yeah, I'm not getting the same thing. Maybe it's you.
I know.
Yep.
Let's see. Okay. Oh, so the different types of testing that I wanted to briefly cover. So the first one is the most basic one. It's the one I just covered without even really defining it. It's unit testing, and it's used to test individual functions or methods. It's just the elementary, like, step one of testing, I would say, because you can test very specific functions and functionalities and features. And then the next step from there would be integration, where you can actually test different components and modules and see how they work together. So an example of this would be like, can this component actually reach a database and fetch data? That would be a good example of integration testing. And then another one would be E2E, or end-to-end testing. And this one is the fun one, in my opinion. This is something where you can use a tool like Cypress, and it is like a mock browser. And what it does, it'll just go through everything on the app or the site. It'll click on every single button. It'll fill out all the forms with like everything, like a number or a string, and submit it. It just acts as a robot going through your whole site and simulates user behavior. And that one's really fun.
Nice.
A couple more that are a little on the complex side, I guess, as far as testing goes. There's system testing, and this is just testing that everything actually works on the actual hardware or the servers that you're running the software on. And then acceptance, that one is kind of like final steps, I would say, because this is the one where you test your code and make sure that it met all the requirements of, whatever was being asked of you, whether it be like work or a client or whatever you're building. As long as it meets all of the requirements, then it passes acceptance testing. And then one that's really thrown around a lot as far as, people that aren't even in QA, like people kind of use this term a lot, smoke testing, which is when this is running a few of the most important tests first to make sure that the app is not on fire, hence smoke test, before proceeding with the rest of testing. And this is really done to save a lot of time with major testing, because you can just run very basic smoke tests and just make sure that you don't have any huge underlying problems before you proceed to more complex and involved testing. And those are all the different types of testing that I wanted to cover. I know there's so many out there, but those are like, the ones that come up the most, I would say.
Yeah, no, I think that that is pretty much what I've seen so far. I was even talking to like my brother-in-law recently, and he is in consulting, and I think he does like RPA. But yeah, we were talking about, the testing process, because like he was getting towards the end of a project and he was talking about user acceptance testing. So it was getting towards like that point where I guess they were preparing to hand it off to the client, or they were having the client already tested to make sure that everything had been covered in terms of like the requirements being addressed. So yeah, I mean, even I feel like that those steps like even apply even if you're not like an engineer or a developer, it just makes sense, because I feel like in every kind of it's such a structured way to address or to like make sure that a project is fulfilled like through and through. But yeah, no, I'm pretty sure like I 100% agree. I think you covered everything. My list is a little bit different, but that's not to say that, it's any different by any means. I mean, I just came across, like you said, functionality testing, usability testing, interface testing. So, like you have, it verifies the interface and the data flow from the system work. Compatibility, which addresses, different devices, like you're talking about your tablets, mobile devices, laptops versus desktops and things like that. And then I think the most fun one that I saw, that I went into a little deeper was performance testing, because this is to kind of gauge how your system is going to perform under several different conditions. So like you can determine like different parameters. So like for load testing, you're trying to monitor critical transactions and the load on the database and the server. For stress testing, you're really pushing it to the max. I mean, you're like you're trying to find the upper limit capacity that the system will still work. And if it will still perform, because I mean, how many times have we heard of like Black Friday deals and then the site crashes because they just weren't equipped, for like that kind of huge number of users to be hitting their website at, at one point. So you hear about that. I mean, not just for like, like Black Friday or whatever, but like a high traffic moment, it can really crash your site. Coinbase, there you go. Yeah, that's an even more recent example, like during the Super Bowl commercial. So, yeah, that's a good, I think a good type of performance testing, to perform to make sure that you're kind of aware of the limitations of your system. And then I also came across soak and spike testing. So soak testing I had never heard of before, but it determines the system parameters under continuous expected load. So I think that this is just like to mainly understand like the performance of the system under like a sustained use, so you just want to see like, I guess, how it does just like on a daily basis. Maybe you're trying to monitor it like I don't know, like morning and afternoon and evening, just to see like what kind of traffic you get and like how it's going to perform under those conditions. And then spike testing is cool. This one is when you suddenly increase the number of users hitting your, like I said, I focused on web apps, so like hitting your site at once to understand if it's capable to sustain, that kind of load that your site is, your server and your database are getting. There's a lot of requests, like all of a sudden to see, will it like slowly, I guess, address that performance necessity, that performance increase necessity, to cope with that kind of the kind of number of requests, or will it just like flat out crash, So this one was pretty cool. And then obviously you go into security testing, which now is huge. It has been, but I think that it's gotten even more important because there's so many vulnerabilities that can be, explored, like Sql Injection, XSS, and cross-site request forgery. Like so many ways that that hackers or like bad actors have used to try to gain, access to protected data or unauthorized access to, the information that the site can give you. So yeah, that's pretty much all I was able to find. And it was, it shows how there's a lot that goes into testing. Yeah.
I just realized something though. One of those that you mentioned, the what's it called? Security testing, ethical hacking, vulnerabilities, stuff like that. I feel like that's one of the few testing fields where anybody, even if they don't work for the company, they can participate and help that company out and figure out what the limitations are as far as securities and what can be penetrated by people who may be bad actors in the near future.
Right.
I think that's so interesting because all the other ones you would have to be like logged in as, you'd have to be approved by the admin. You'd have to get into the servers. You'd have to, have access to their code. But with that one, you can use whatever you want and just like go. I forget what the website's called, but that one where companies put up basically bounties for people to figure out, vulnerabilities in their sites or whatever, and see if people can hack into it essentially. And if they do, the company pays them.
Yeah.
I think that one's so cool because, like I said, like the person who works for themselves from home and has nothing to do with that company at all can still help them out with that testing and even get paid for it, which I think is so interesting. With all the other ones, like I said, you would have to literally work for the company. So that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I think we even talked about like recently that one student, or it was a younger guy that he got paid like the record amount for a bounty. I don't know if it was like Apple.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like was it the camera? It was a camera vulnerability, I think.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
He was able to exploit it. So yeah, it just shows, like how as long as you're mindful that you're doing it for like the right cause and not trying to like hack people out of their Bitcoin, try and do it. But yeah, it's really important, to be aware of like these like ways how programs or like services and whatever can be exploited. I just recently had to take a course about like the top 10 exploitation methods, and like Sql Injection is definitely like it was the number one. Because it's crazy how like you can go to the URL and then like it's a .com/ and then if you put like I don't know, 1 equals to 1, which is always true, and you get a response back, there you go. That's as simple as a SQL injection can get, you know? So if you get something back, then that's terrible security. It means that anyone can actually access, and like you actually get some kind of response from the server with possible, you know, data. And yeah, it's really cool though, like to find out, you know, little things, or like find out how to break things, because you're sort of like reverse engineering the product. But then, you know, if you spot it, and if it's your own project, you can correct it. If not, you know, try to like point it out. I remember someone posted on LinkedIn, like their new company website. I went in there. It was a security flaw. It was just like a typo or something. But I was like, hey, dude, you know, like I knew the guy. I was like, I love your website. I just wanted to give you a heads up. You know, like there's a little typo there. And I feel like maybe with like an automated test, that wouldn't have been caught. It would probably have to be like someone with their eyes on it reading it, you know. So it's just like, you know, sometimes it can be very like little things, but I feel like that's why QA is there, you know, like to spot things every now and then, as severe or as, you know, kind of like light as they can be.
Yeah, but wrapping it up, it is like we said, really important to at least be aware of all this and know how to do it at a base level, just because you don't always have QA there. If you're gonna build your own project, like who's going to QA it if you're working alone? It has to be you. So
right.
It is really important. Bye. It is really important to at least catch, you know, those surface level errors, and even with some basic knowledge, you can catch some really big ones to prevent future trouble down the line. So, yeah. But with that being said, I wanted to cover something cool. So, there is talks of this new electric vehicle coming out in 2025, and 2 interesting teams are joining forces to build it, and these 2 companies are very big. You would know them for sure. It is Apple. Oh, do you want to guess?
I was going to say, you know, is it Apple?
No.
Oh,
okay, so hint. One of them is a car company, and then the other one is an electronics company, and they're working together. They're going to create one company to build this electric vehicle.
Is it Intel? A car company? Ford and Intel? I don't know.
Not a bad guess, but incorrect. Do you want to try one more time and I'll tell you? You're pretty close.
So I didn't get any of those 2 right?
No, but you're like on the like super correct track.
Is it an
They're
American
both huge,
maker?
You know?
Is it an American maker?
Oh no. Okay, maybe I should say that. They're not American. They're Asian.
Okay.
I don't know where
Toyota.
in Asia. No. But what about the technology company? Just guess the.
Shoot.
They make TVs, I think, or what else do they make?
Samsung.
Sony.
Oh, damn. Okay, the other
S. Sony and Honda.
Ooh, okay. I love Honda. Yeah.
Yeah. And the car looks really cool. So here's a quote from the article. So Sony and Honda are planning to form a new company to design and sell electric vehicles together. The venture hasn't been finalized just yet, but the 2 companies have signed a memorandum of understanding that states their intent. The as yet unnamed new company is expected to be formed this year, with sales of the first model planned for 2025. So we should be able to see it, you know, in the next year, hopefully, or 2 years.
Right.
And Honda will manufacture the first model, with the new company handing the vehicle's design, development, and sales. That's a typo in the article. It should say handling. Anyway, handling the vehicle's design, development, and sales. And Sony is set to develop the mobility service platform. The partnership is intended to combine Honda's expertise in making and marketing cars with Sony's capabilities in image sensors, telecommunications, and entertainment.
Wow.
This makes so much sense. Like, why don't more companies do this? Like, I guess on a low level, they kind of do it. Like when car companies use like a specific companies like really good speakers or whatever, or I don't know. They'll like if there's a some sort of screen made by another company. You know, that's sort of joining forces, but this is like complete like bipartisanship, like two large companies just coming together making one car, which I think is really tight. I'm really excited to see it. Well, we already have a I guess a what would you call it, like a concept car version.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, I want to take a look. I was gonna say, what a collab, Sony and Honda. That sounds really good. I mean, Sam's had her Honda Civic for a little over 6 months, I think now, and I really like the car. I have a Toyota Corolla myself, which I'm about to get rid of because I don't really, see the point of having a car anymore. Working from home, I feel like I don't get that much use out of it, but I love her car. I went to a Honda dealership like recently, and the reason why I didn't leave there with a car was because the person sitting next to me bought it. So, but I'm trying to get rid of the car anyway, so I don't want to buy another one. But that one looks so nice, and I think that the Honda cars have been like really stepping it up. I mean, they feel so good to drive. We took her car all the way up to New York and back, and it was totally fine, So, this is really exciting. And another thing is the fact that I've heard recently that Toyota was like one of the biggest lobbyists against electric cars. They are so resistant, to, I guess, join that wave. And I'm really happy that Honda isn't, so I'm like, good for them. Yeah, because I feel like it's that should be the way that we, take things. I mean, we're living in like crazy times where gas is just getting more and more expensive. Like, why can't we just use a different resource, So yeah, this is really exciting. I can't wait to see like what this, this joint, I guess, partnership is going to bring, and what the company is going to be called.
It's going to be called
Sonda.
What would you call it? Sonda? Yeah, is that what you said?
Yeah, it's their couple name.
Sonda or Honey.
Honey, yeah, there you go. I know.
Hondi.
Yeah. Hondi, yeah. It could be something fun. Let's hope.
Yeah. I hope they have a slight sense of humor about it. It's probably going to be something like Optimus, like something stupid like that, or Electron.
Yeah, clearly, right? But let's hope that they come out with, a good, like a competitive car for the electric, for, the EV market, and then it does well. So, yeah.
They've been popping up everywhere. I just got my new car finally. I picked it up on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And, oh boy, she is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the, so I had a 2020 Subaru Crosstrek that I got in 2020, and then I just got the 2022 Subaru Crosstrek, and they bought my car for more than I got it brand new. It was like I had the receipt for when I got the car initially, and then I got their offer for my car, and after like a little bit of negotiation on my part, they purchased it for like a couple $1,000s more than what I paid for my car in 2020.
Damn. No way.
Which I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
That's amazing.
That happened, and then I got the 2022, and then I even upgraded to the limited, which is pretty sweet.
Nice. Do you see like a big difference?
Performance wise, no. I guess it's a little faster.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't drive anyway. It still has like 5 miles on it because I haven't even left the house since I got it. Like I drove it home from the dealership and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's stupid that I even have a car, but I mean, the opportunity presented itself, and I knew that I was gonna have to get an Oregon car and go through all that stuff. So this was just like literally cheaper and easier.
Yeah.
So I did that. But other than that, I mean, it's like the interior is way nicer, so that's really obvious to anybody going into the car. They're like, whoa, this is really sweet.
Yeah.
So there's that, and what was it? Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so at Subaru, they have an EV coming out really, really soon. That's an EV Crosstrek, and it looks really tight. I mean,
wow.
I can't afford it, but I mean, it was really cool.
That's
Yeah,
neat.
they sold out of pre-orders, I guess, at our dealership here. Like, I think there was 50, and they sold out like
Oh, I bet.
very quickly.
Yeah, it's so competitive now to get cars too, you know, houses and cars, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hope that there are like more and more options, because I feel like up until a few years ago, it was like the Tesla was like the biggest name. And I see quite a few, like, I mean, I can't even say a few anymore. Like, I see them everywhere. But yeah, I think that one day, maybe now that I'm going to take a pause, going to get rid of this car, you know, like in maybe like when I'm back in the market for like an electric car, might be for like a car, you know, then maybe I might consider getting like an electric vehicle. But it would be cool not to have to go to the gas station, you know, and just like charge it at my house. That would be neat.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in
didn't
a
you-
community, like an apartment place, you know, and there are a couple of electric chargers here, so we don't even have to pay for it. So that's really cool. It'd be free fuel. So
Right. Well, you put your down deposit for the Cybertruck, remember?
Oh my God, did I? I don't even remember if did I pay for that? I don't even remember.
I remember like you came to work and you were like, guess who put their deposit down on the truck?
Crap.
I was like, whoa.
Maybe I did, because I think it was like $100. I don't
Yeah,
even.
it was stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know like what the status is of that. I never got an email, so I'm wondering if I just lost those $100. If there's like, are they even gonna make that car? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's still in the works. Like,
Oh, really?
I guess it was delayed a little bit, but
Right.
I think it's still gonna happen. You might actually be getting yourself a Cybertruck.
That'd be neat. Yeah, I've been wanting like a bigger car for the longest time. I mean, a truck would be so nice, but I just can't justify the expense, you know? So I feel like for now, I'm just fine getting rid of the car that I have as it is. But it's always fun. I mean, I love cars. I don't know, like, I don't understand that much about them, but I am a big fan of driving, you know, ergo big F1 fan. So it's just, I don't know, it's just like it's a fun thing to do. It's an expensive like though, or taste. I don't know how to explain it, you know?
It definitely is. Yeah. So, okay, I have a cool recommendation. I'm actually going to send it to you so you can see what I did.
Cool.
I think you'll like it. It's pretty cute. So check the recommendation channel whenever it gets to you.
Avatars. Oh my gosh, are these our avatars?
Yeah, that's us.
Oh, that's so cute. I love it.
Yeah, so it's called avatars.com. It's spelled AVATAAARS.com. I am assuming that Avatar with one A and two A's was taken, so they decided to go with three A's.
Avatars.
Yeah, and it's really cute. You go on, and I guess you don't have to do it online per se. It's a library that you can download and use in like your React app, and just like, you know, any of those other libraries, you use a couple keywords to build your avatar, and you can make it with code basically and display it on your site or whatever and make it your icon. And you can also do it online. They have a GUI where you can just click from a bunch of different options, and, you know, skin tone, hair, eyebrows, expression, clothes, stuff like that. So I made one of Anna and I made one of myself, and I would say that they came out pretty solid. So, except
They did.
I could only choose the mullet option. That was the only one that was like the closest. And I don't know. I guess it's like kind of. I guess it is kind of close looking at it.
It is, yeah. I think it's spot on for both of them. Yeah.
I guess if I go like this, there we go. Yeah, this is basically me.
Now you just gotta smile and close your eyes. Perfect. There you go. Yeah, it's perfect. Yep.
And I wish there were like, I only see you with headphones on because we only talk online. So
Yeah,
I wish
that's
I could have put headphones on you, but I don't think there were headphones. So, but they have some cute things that you can add. So yeah, that's avatars.com. Check it out. It's linked below too. Do you have your recommendation?
Yeah, so I think it kind of ties into like the last, element of testing that we're talking about, like with security and all of that. So I went on TechCrunch earlier, and I found out that NVIDIA is being held. What is it called? Like held hostage? No, not really held hostage, but there's like a team of hackers, that is asking for a ransom for the fact that they obtained 70,000 employee email addresses and NTLM password hashes from the NVIDIA company. So it was linked that there is this site called Have I Been Owned, but instead of O, it's P. Have I been PWNED? Pwned. There you go. So it shows like, you can set a notification or alert like by putting your email address or multiple email addresses that you use on there, and they will notify you if you're part of one of these data breaches, or security breaches. So I thought it was really cool because I have never used anything like this, and I might start from now on, even though I feel like with Google, I've gotten some alerts before where they're like, oh, your email was, it was used in this application, and they reported some kind of like security breach. So, yeah, so this one is a good recommendation. Like you can keep up with, it's kind of alarming how long this page is that I'm scrolling through right now. NVIDIA is just like one, but there's so many. And yeah, maybe check it out, maybe don't. It's up to you. But it's really cool how you can keep an eye on it and, use their notification feature. But yeah, it says the largest, or actually recently added breaches, 5 million from Robinhood accounts. So just FYI, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've done this before, but there is another one too that you do in the terminal. You don't have to go on a website. So I forget what it's called. I think it was called Sherlock, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You basically just run I think you run Sherlock, and then you run like a username that you may have used or somebody else may have used, and then it combs through a huge list of like popular sites that you might have made an account for, and then a bunch that you may not even know that you made an account for, and then it tells you if you have an account for it. So then like, oh, that's weird that that's being used there. And I don't remember if it shows anything else other than that, but it would be useful if it showed if you've been pwned,
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly.
But that was a cool resource.
Yeah, I actually just saw that in the list of largest breaches. MySpace is on there with like close to 360 million accounts. So that's I guess it's still like one of the biggest. I know, yeah, exactly. It's still like one of the biggest, at least reported by this site. But yeah, check it out if you want to. We'll have the link down below. Or
link down below. Yeah, I never know how to close these things out. I don't know. I'm excited to enjoy the beautiful day today, though.
Oh, is the weather really good over there today?
Yeah, it's like 50, sunny. I'm excited. What's up with you?
Yeah, I actually ran some errands this morning, and then I'm probably, we're recording this, and then I'm probably gonna, I don't know, try and like read a book or do something kind of fun. Like these past few days at work were kind of busy, and I think that this week is going to, probably stay that course, if not get busier. But I'm just going to take it easy. Tomorrow I'm going to a friend's bridal shower, so it's a little far away from here. So it's going to be sort of a long, but hopefully a very fun day. And yeah, one thing I wanted to mention, I was just going through my notes. I kind of forgot. I don't know if you know, but since we just started March, MDN came out with a new version for their site. I don't know if you heard about that. Like they redesigned because MDN, Mozilla Developer Network, it was a good resource that I learned when I started the bootcamp. That along with W3 schools. Yeah, I use them like interchangeably all the time. So they have a new logo now. They have a new content to like organization. It looks really nice. It's always been like a very good resource, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out because they have like a brand new, thing going on now. Yeah.
I feel like I was just on it and I didn't even notice. Maybe that was like one of the last days of February because I was definitely Googling something for work and I was on there. But yeah, I'll check it out soon again after this.
Cool.
I'm excited too. I think, when is it? Next week? What's today? The 5th? Oh, okay. So the following week, not this coming week, but the following week, I think like 15th or 16th, I'm going to go to the office for the first time and I'm so excited.
Ooh, yeah. I did
I'm
hear
gonna
about
go for one
that.
day, check it out, and actually meet my team for the first time and maybe, grab some grub with my manager. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm really stoked though, and I'm getting a haircut the day before, so I won't look crazy, and I'm finally getting some like work attire, like pants that aren't Dickies with the ankles cut off, and maybe a t-shirt that doesn't have like a thing on it like this, just some normal, just chill work clothes, because it's definitely a chill atmosphere because you can wear whatever you want, but I want to look a little cleaner and put together. So
right.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I think my plan is to go in, depending on how it goes and stuff, because I think it's like a 20-ish minute drive or 25 minutes. My plan is to go in, maybe once a week or so and see how that goes. But I am really thankful that we're one of those companies where like it's just optional. You don't have to go in ever. Like you can stay home, you can do whatever. The offices will always be there for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really nice.
Like a free WeWork.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there is one person in my team that I know lives in Orlando as well. But yeah, I don't know. Like we don't work exactly on the same product, even though like we are on the SUS engineering squad or whatever. But we've like touched base, before. We just haven't met in person. So yeah, I know that there isn't like an office here, but let me know how it goes. That must be like pretty exciting,
I'm very excited. Yes,
Yeah.
It's gonna be so fun.
We need to follow up on it next week.
Yeah, I picked out my desk. I picked like a corner desk, so I have like a good view. I'm on like the top floor, so
Nice.
I'm stoked. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that sounds
Like
really...
I've been there before. I know it's nice, and I've explored the whole office, and it's just like it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really stoked.
Yeah, that sounds really fun, and I feel like that is like one of the things that I'm trying to make an effort to change, like on days that I don't have calls, which are probably going to be like on Fridays. I think I'm going to make an effort to go down to like the Starbucks that we have here, which is a decent size, just go kind of like early, get some work done, and then if I want to come back, then I'll come back, and work here. But just like get out of the house to break up the routine, since I don't live that close to like a downtown area where there are like some, WeWork buildings or whatever. But it does sound good to like just get out, and see like a new area for a little bit, as close as it is to my place. But yeah, like you said, it's so nice that it's voluntary. So, you have the option to go when you want to go. But if you want to stay at home, you can as well. So, yeah, it's a good time to be alive, I would say.
I know it is. Yeah. And then we won't have to wear masks on the I don't remember what day it is, but my first day in the office, it'll be after we won't have to wear masks inside the office. So I'm excited for that too. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels kind of weird because I've just recently stopped wearing masks, like to go to, I don't know, like the grocery store or to go out. I mean, I don't go anywhere that has a lot of people. At most it's, you know, a grocery store, but I feel like down here, I mean, it's always been like very loose, the like restrictions, but a lot of places still have, you know, the mask required. So I totally respect that and I'm fine wearing it. But the places that don't, then, you know, it's kind of like, okay, let's see how it goes, I guess. I mean, it seems like everyone is over it. At least I feel confident that I had my vaccines, you know, so it's okay with me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's up to you, like whoever, you know, our listeners, wear it, don't wear it. Like, just respect, I guess, what the rules are where you go.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Just, I mean, my whole thing lately too has been just like I default to wearing it, and that way I don't upset anybody, and I can just remain invisible and do my thing. But then, like, the moment you are not wearing it somewhere that you should be, then all eyes are on you and you're the weirdo. Like,
yeah,
I think it's just a nice default to, like, assume that you have to wear it anyway. Because in Portland, we're obviously super strict about it. But it is really nice to see that 90%, I think, of the country is finally slowing down on it, so we don't have to wear them all the time. So I know our day is coming up really soon, but we are one of the last cities. So it couldn't come any sooner. I'm stoked to just, you know, get what do they call a muzzle? What do weird people call it? They're like, get this muzzle off me! Like,
oh God,
I'm excited to get this muzzle
much,
off me. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, one thing that I have to, you know, that I think I'm thankful for is because of the heat. It definitely does suck, you know, like walking around with a mask if you're outside. Even though I feel like if you're outdoors, it's been, I feel like, you know, pretty common to see people not wearing their masks, at least here in Florida. Yeah. But even when you're going into like a restaurant, you know, it just, it's nice. Like now that the weather is warm, like it's pretty warm down here already. It's a nice little break. But yeah, I guess, you know, we just have to like carry on and hopefully establish some sense of normalcy or whatever that is, like if that's even a thing, you know, nowadays. But
I'm excited.
2 years, man.
Yeah, like
2 years.
I'm excited to walk into a place and not have to sit down to take it off. I could just like walk in and not have to wear it. Like I'm really excited for that to come. Yeah. But I have been really, really stoked that we wear masks lately with just having a dog because it's been cold outside here, so it keeps my face warm, so that's really cool. And then when I pick up my dog's poop, it doesn't smell that bad. It it masks the stench.
That's
so
true.
I'm sure Anna can relate a little bit.
Man.
But yeah, I'll walk outside if it's not too cold. I'll take it off just because I'm outside and I know it's fine.
Yeah.
If I'm going down to scoop that poop though, I'm putting that thing back on, baby. Like I don't want that smell anywhere near me. So
yeah, I feel like that is a nice blocker, you know, for like bad odors.
Blocker.
Yeah, it's but yeah, I mean, it just thinking about it, like I think it was about 2 years ago this time, which is insane to say out loud, because I remember like we were working together this time, you know, 2 years ago. And it was right before I think things started to like lock down. So it's kind of eerie thinking about how long it's been. But it also feels like it hasn't. I mean, you say 2 years, but it feels like it was just a few months. It's just kind of weird. Yeah, so much has happened. But I guess it is what it is.
Well, we're ready for new beginnings and normalcy, and who knows, if this show blows up, we'll do a live show one day.
I know.
Maybe we'll tour the country and do our podcast on the road. Who knows?
Seriously, yeah. We'll go maskless. It would be shocking.
Oh, yeah. No masks here.
Yep. I know. If that doesn't get people to come out to see us, I don't know what will.
Oh, man, I know. What was I just going to say? Oh, yeah. Patreon. So we have Patreon, obviously, in case you didn't hear the beginning. But we have Patreon. That's where you can support us even more than just listening if you feel so inclined. No pressure at all, obviously. You can donate as much as you want or as little as you want. And with that, you have full access to our show notes, which is really, really cool because you can see, especially with this episode, you can see our code examples that illustrate really well what we're even talking about. You can see this graph that I have referring to a study that I was talking about with TDD and the effects of it with working on a project. You can see all the links. I even have, I have Anna and I's avatars that I created. So you'll only be able to see that on Patreon too. And on top of that, you get the episodes 4 days early. So you get to listen to it before anybody else does. And then you can be the envy of all your friends who also listen. So if you're considering it, those are all the things that come with it. Hopefully more are to come. Maybe we'll try out video format and then release it on Patreon only just to see how that goes, and then maybe revamp production and then maybe do live shows on Patreon and then have them record and then publish them everywhere else later. So that's all still a work in progress. That's kind of all there is to it, though. So if you're interested, feel free to check it out at patreon.com/techheads. And of course, like, subscribe, review, be honest everywhere that you're listening to the show. So yeah, that would be a tremendous help. And with that being said, I think Tech Heads are out.
Peace.